Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a header or footer in a large number of worksheets and unify that header and footer across the different worksheets, whatever the number of worksheets you have. Along the way, we'll be talking about some of the settings for preparing the worksheet for printing, and I'll show you 3 different ways for copying the header or footer across multiple worksheets, whatever the number of worksheets. So let's get started. In this workbook, I have 4 sheets. I could have a much bigger number of sheets. On this worksheet, I have a list of student names for one of my classes, and then I have the score they got in each one of the tests, and in column I have their final score, and in column J, I have their final grade. And because I'm teaching multiple classes, then I have a class on Monday, I have a class on Wednesday, one on Friday, and another one on Tuesday. And what I would like to do is to prepare my worksheets for printing, and I want to create a header and footer in each one of these sheets. If you want to know what Excel will be printing by default, then it's the area included between the shortcut Control Home, which is A1, and the shortcut Control End. This area is what Excel is going to print by default. Let me show you what Excel is going to print by going to the File tab and select Print. And because print starts with letter P, if I hit Control P, it takes me to the print preview. And as you can see, this is what's going to print. It doesn't look nice. I want to improve the appearance, and at the same time, I just want this list. I don't want all this space and the 2 columns that I have to the right side. And this requires telling Excel just to print this area. We call it a print area. To set a print area, I'll go back to my worksheet. In the worksheet, I need to specify the area to print. So I'm going to select a single cell. I'll be using the shortcut Control A, and then I go to the Page Layout tab of the ribbon, and on the Page Layout I have Print Area. I click on the down arrow for Print Area, and I set the print area. I want to do the same for the other worksheets, so I go to the next worksheet. And on the next worksheet, I want to show you a different technique for setting the print area by using shortcut. With one single cell selected in the list, I'm going to use the shortcut Control Asterisk, and the Control Asterisk is different from the Control A. If you want to know the difference and learn more about shortcuts and become a professional in using shortcuts in Excel, then I encourage you to watch my tutorial where I show you the 60 most important shortcuts, and I teach you how to memorize them in an easy way. I'm putting the link for this tutorial in the description below. The shortcut for creating a print area is Alt+PRS, and I would have created my print area, and I'm going to do that for the other worksheets. After setting the print area for all the worksheets, I want to see how it will look like if I try to print. So I'm selecting, let's say, the first one. I hit Control P, and now it looks much better, and I was able to set the print area and specify only the area that I want to print. I want to do a lot more. I want to create a header that gives me some information like the date and time. I want the file name and the sheet name here at the bottom, the number of pages, assuming that my report includes multiple pages, and I want to add my name. It will be great if I'm able to add my logo here at the top, and at the same time, I need to do that for all the worksheets simultaneously. So I go back by clicking on the left pointing arrow, and this is method number 1. I'm selecting one single worksheet right now. I'm not selecting all of them. And what I'm going to do is to adjust some settings in the Page Setup dialog box. And to go to the Page Setup dialog box, I click on the Page Layout tab. And on the Page Layout tab, I click on this little square in the lower right corner. I could use this one or that one. We call it a dialog box launcher. If you are not on the page layout, then you can open the same dialog box by using a shortcut. Let me show you the shortcut. I'm going to switch, let's say, to the Home tab. And the shortcut is very popular. It's Alt+PSP. Alt+PSP opens the Page Setup dialog box. Remember that I have one single sheet selected right now. I want to change the orientation. I'll make it landscape, which means I'll be printing on a sheet of paper which is wider than tall. And then I want to go to the next tab. Here at the top, I have the Margins tab. I want my list to be centered up and down and right and left. So I'm going to check the box for horizontally and vertically. Then I want to go to the next tab, header and footer, and here I want to create a header and footer. A header is a repeated piece of information at the top of each printed page, and the footer is a repeated piece of information at the bottom of each printed page. We have some predefined headers, so if I click on the down pointing arrow, I see a list of predefined headers. I'm not going to do that, and the same applies to footer. I want to create a custom header and a custom footer. To create a custom header, I click on Custom Header, and here you will note that the header is divided into three sections. This one to the left is called the left header, the one to the middle is called center header, and the one to the right is called right header. In the left header, I want to insert the date. I don't have to type a date because I want to make it dynamic. It will reflect the date on which I print that sheet. And to do that, I'll be using the building blocks available here at the top. You want a date, click on the Insert Date icon. It inserts a code in square brackets. You can add the time as well. So if I press Enter, I can insert the time as well by clicking on this clock, which inserts the time. I don't want to do anything in the center header for now or in the right header, so I'm going to hit OK and see how it looks like. That's fine, that's the date and time, and I'm going to insert a custom footer as well. So I click on Custom Footer, and like the header, it's divided into three sections. In the leftmost section, I want to insert the file name and the sheet name, so I'm going to click on this icon which says Insert File Name, and it inserts a code. I hit Enter to go to the next line, and I'll be inserting the sheet name. In the middle section, I want to insert the page number, and I have two icons for the page number. The second icon is for inserting a page number, and the third icon is for inserting the total number of pages. Let's try inserting a page number for now, and look at the code preceded with the end symbol. And then I click in the rightmost section, and here I want to type. I type my name. I want to see how the footer will look like, so I'm going to preview the footer by hitting OK. And this is how it looks like. It will be much better if I say the sheet name is Monday, the sheet name is Wednesday, and so on. And for the pages, it will be much better, especially if my report consists of multiple pages, to say this is page 1 of 5, this is page 2 of 5, and so on. And I want to format the text as well for my name. So let's go back and customize the footer by clicking on Custom Footer. I click to the left side of the Sheet tab name, and I'll be typing sheet name is, and a space. And then for the pages, I click before the code, and I type page, and a space, that's text. I click after the code, I type a space, and I say off, and I type another space, and I want to insert the total number of pages. And now I want to format all of them. To format, you select whatever you want to format, and then you click on the A icon, and then let's say I'm going to bold my name. I can change the font size, I can change the font color, I can change the font type, I can do whatever I want. It's regular formatting. And then I'll be doing the same for the page numbers. I click on the A icon and I bold it, and then I hit OK, and I'll be doing the same for the file name and for the sheet tab to match the other sections of the footer. So I click on the A icon and I bold them. Now we want to see how it will look like. So I hit OK, and here is the preview. Sheet name is Monday, page 1 of 1, and my name Nabil Murad. That's fine. I'm going to hit OK, and I want to look at what I did in the print preview. As we did before, printing starts with letter P, so I hit Ctrl P to go to the print preview. Now let's have a look at the header and footer. This is the date and time, and this is my footer, the page number, and my name. And then I go back by clicking on the left pointing arrow, and I want to see, did I create the same header for Wednesday, for Friday? I click on Wednesday, and then I hit Ctrl P. I don't see the header here. All the settings that I created were for one single sheet. Let me check the next one. Friday, Ctrl P. I don't see the header or footer. So what I would like to do right now, this is method number 1 for copying the header and footer settings and the page setup settings to multiple worksheets, so you don't have to repeat the same steps over and over again. I select the sheet where I created the settings. It was for Monday. And then I'm going to press and keep holding down the Shift key and click on Tuesday. Now I'm grouping the sheets. What does it mean, grouping the sheets? It means if you do anything in one of the worksheets, you will be doing it in all of them. I created a setup in Monday, and because I selected it first, that's the dominant worksheet. I go to Page Setup. On the Page Layout tab, I click on this little square, or I can use the shortcut Alt-PSP to open the Page Setup dialog box. And what I would like to do is to populate my header and footer and settings to the other worksheets. So I'm going to hit OK and I'm done. With the 4 sheets selected, I'm going to preview all of them simultaneously. So if I hit Control P right now, that's the Monday worksheet. That's the first one. And I have some navigation arrows. So if I click on the right pointing arrow to move to the next worksheet, now this is the second one, this is the third one, and I was able to copy the header across multiple worksheets, although I created it once. It will be great if I can bring my company logo or my blog site logo here in the right header at the top. And I want to do that using the second method of populating a header or unifying a header across multiple worksheets. So I click on the left pointing triangle to go back to the regular view. And with the sheets selected all together, I want to switch to another view called Page Layout. I can do that by clicking on Page Layout, which is the middle icon in the View buttons on the right side of the status bar, which is right next to the Zoom slider. I can do that from here. I can do it as well by going to the View tab, and on the View tab I click on Page Layout. Clicking it from here or there is exactly the same. So if I click on Page Layout, this is what I get. It's showing me the header and footer. And as I mentioned, the header or footer are divided into 3 sections. Being divided into 3 sections doesn't mean you will see a line separating them. It's just a way for organizing the content. I want to bring my blog site logo to the right header. And to do that, I'm going to click in the right header, and automatically an extra tab pops up into the ribbon, the Header and Footer tab. You will see to the left side some of the building blocks we have seen in the Page Setup dialog box. What I would like to do is to bring a picture. And note, because my sheets are grouped together, I'm going to click on Picture, and whatever I do right now will be done in all of them. So if I click on Picture, I want to navigate to a picture. You can bring a picture from the web. I'm going to bring my logo. It's stored on my computer. My logo is the See How picture. I select it and then I hit OK. Here is my picture and it's a code. In order to see the picture, you have to click outside. When you click outside the header, although the tab disappeared, but you can see the logo. Sometimes it's huge in size. You want to change the size. In my case, it's too small in size. I want to make it a little bigger. So I'm going to click in the header one more time. And this time I'm going to click on Format Picture. In the Format Picture, you have 3 tabs. The leftmost tab is for sizing. I want to make it a little bigger. So I click on the up pointing arrow of the spin button to make it a little bigger. You maintain the aspect ratio by keeping this box checked. Sometimes we insert a picture, and even when we reduce the size, pictures increase the size of our Excel file, so you can compress these pictures, and to do that, you click on the Picture tab, and we have a Compress button. If you click on it, you will have some options for compressing your picture and reducing the file size. So if you select for web, then it will reduce the file size considerably. I'm not going to make any change. If you want to create an Excel file and make it accessible, then you can add alt text. You can write a description of your picture here. I'm not doing this for now. I hit OK and I created my picture. I want to see how it looks like, so I click outside the header and now I'm satisfied with the size. I'll be switching to normal view. And I want to explore my header and footer after using this second technique, the page layout. I hit Control P, and here is my header with my blog site logo in the right header. What if I navigate to the next sheet? I click on the right pointing triangle, and I can see the logo in this one, in the next one, in the last one, and I unified my header and footer in all the sheets, whatever the number of sheets. What I would like to do next is extremely important for my work. I'm teaching different classes. And for each class, I have in A1 some very important information. I have the start time of the class, and I have the average score for the entire class based upon the values you see in column I. So in order to compare the averages, it will be good to have it somewhere in the header. I want to review some terminology with you. I want first to ungroup the sheets, so I right-click on the Sheet tabs and select Ungroup Sheets. I want to bring the Page Setup dialog box. Do you remember the shortcut? Alt-PSP. And here is the Page Setup. I'm going to click on the header and footer. I click on the Custom Header, and remember that I didn't add anything in the center header because I planned up front to bring the contents of cell A1, the start time of the class, and the average score here in the center header. How am I going to do that? We need to review the terminology. This is called the Page Setup dialog box. This is the center header, and this is cell A1. I want whenever I print my worksheets, I grab the contents of cell A1. So I'm going to create a simple event code. Let me close, and let's hit OK for the page setup. To create an event code that copies the contents of cell A1 in each worksheet and add it in the center header, I'm going to switch to my Visual Basic editor by hitting the shortcut Alt F11. To the left side, I'm going to double-click on this workbook. It creates this white space, and I have two drop lists at the top. In the left drop list, I want to select Workbook. I click on the left drop list. I select Workbook. And Excel assumes that I want to create a code that is triggered by opening the workbook. So it creates this private sub, but that's not the one I need for this project. I want to create a before print event. So I click on the right drop list, and from here I want to select the before print event. And Excel adds the private sub, workbook, before print. I can delete the first one. And then I'm going to write my single line of instruction between these two. What do I want to do? I resized my Visual Basic editor in a way that I can see cell A1 and I can see the different sheets. I want to declare a variable that stores the name of any worksheet. Like if you have a group of babies, one of them is named Jack, the other one is Steve, the third one is Tom, the fourth one is Mary, then you can collectively call them babies. So I'm going to create a variable. So I'll say dim ws, this is the nickname that I'm giving to all the sheets, dim ws as worksheet. So when I say ws, as if I'm using the term babies, I didn't specify which one of the babies, any one of them. So I say for each one of the babies, for each one of the ws, for each one of the worksheet, I want to go to each one and grab the contents of cell A1. How do I write that? I need to loop over the different worksheets, so I say for each ws in this workbook dot worksheets. And then when I hit enter, I say next ws. What does it mean? It means I'll be writing some instructions between the for each and next. These instructions will apply to each one of the ws. The first ws is Monday, the second ws is Wednesday, the third ws is Friday, and if I have 100 sheets, I'll be looping over the different sheets and repeat the same instructions. What are these instructions? ws, I want to go to the page setup, and then I want to change the center header. I'll be typing center header. I can select it from the list. So for each worksheet, go to the page setup dialog box, go to the center header, and this one should be equal to what? Let's grab the value coming from cell A1, ws.range, open bracket, double quote A1 double quote, close the bracket, dot value. And I'm done. I finished creating my code. It's one single line in a loop. You can improve the appearance by indenting the code. Now I want to test my code, so I'll be closing my Visual Basic editor. Remember that whenever you have a code in an Excel file, you have to save that file in a .xlsm format. I'll be closing my Visual Basic editor and I'm back to Excel. I want to test, so I'll be grouping the sheets. The leftmost is selected Monday. I press Shift and click on the rightmost. And now I want to see the print preview, so I hit Ctrl P. Alternatively, you can go to the File tab and select Print. Here is my first sheet, but surprisingly, I don't see in the center header the contents of cell A1. And if I move to the next one and the next sheet, none of them is showing the contents. Why? Because this is a before print event. You trigger it by printing. If I print this worksheet right now, it will bring the contents of cell A1 in the center header. And because I'm not connected to a printer, then I'm going to show you how to do that without being connected to the printer. I'm going to change my printer. Instead of sending this document to my regular printer, I'm going to print it to a PDF file. And this will trigger the code. So when I go and check it on my regular printer, I'll be able to see it as well. So when I click on print, I'm triggering the code right now. It asks me, where do you want to save the PDF file? I want to save it here. I'm going to name it testing header. And then I hit enter. I printed this file to a PDF file. Now let's go back to the print preview. Ctrl P one more time. And look at this. I can see the contents of cell A1. This class on Monday starts at 2 p.m. and here is the class average. If I move to the second one, to the third one, and so on. And now if I want to preview it to my regular printer, if I click on the down arrow and select my regular printer, now I see how it will print if I send it to my regular printer. But this is how to do it. I go back to my workbook. I showed you in this tutorial how to adjust the settings for printing and how to create a header and footer and copy it to the other worksheets, either by using the page setup dialog box or by using the page layout view or by using a before print event, which enabled me to grab a value from the worksheet. I can bring it and it's dynamic. Every time I print the worksheet, it will reflect the current value.